Howdy. And you know, if you have been around my channel for a long time, you may be aware that Borderlands is my favorite video game franchise of all time. Yeah, I know, I'm the Skyrim channel that talks about everything Skyrim, even haircuts to pinball games. Jeez, I'm really scrubbing the bottom of the barrel at this point with Skyrim, aren't I? Okay, whatever, yeah, back to Borderlands. This game series holds a very special place in my heart, man. I have played every game in the franchise. Yes, even Tales from the Borderlands and even that old mobile game. Yeah, it existed, it sucked. So needless to say, when I see that there is a roguelike game that mimics Borderlands art style and gameplay, I bought that ish day one and played the ever-loving crap out of it. That particular game is known as Gunfire Reborn. Yeah, ignore the release date. I did get the game day one, but I couldn't decide if I wanted to make a full video on it or not. Then suddenly the video that I had been planning for weeks sorta just fell through, and there was an opening in my schedule, so I was like, yeah, screw it, let's go ahead and give an indie game some love that really deserves it. And boy oh howdy does this game deserve it. Also, I feel like it's been a while since I've done a quick fire review, so this is kind of a fun change of pace for me too. A real quick note real fast. This game is in early access, so everything I talk about is bound to change in many ways. Just needed to note that real fast because I know some people don't like to buy into the early access stuff, but let's go ahead and dive on into the game, shall we? Let's do that by answering the question every great philosopher has been pondering for ages. What exactly is Gunfire Reborn? Well, it is a first-person roguelike that easily takes a huge influence from the Borderlands franchise, if my intro didn't make that kind of obvious enough. But let's go over all the game has to offer, my favorite things about it, and also some of the poopy bad stuff I don't like so much about it. I think the best place to start with this game is just a basic overview of the gameplay. Because, well, it's a roguelike, so that's gonna be the thing you're gonna be doing for basically the entire time. And this overview part of the video is gonna be a cool segue into the rest of my points in the video. You know, you'll see, just wait. Oh yeah, back to the review. This game is fun as balls. The fast-paced, quick reaction gameplay is executed fantastically here. It's the kind of gameplay that makes me lean to the edge of my chair in hype, but also panicking fear, because mixed with all that exciting fun is the anxiety that my long, hard-fought run could crumble at any moment. And such a loss would surely break the last remaining strand of sanity I have after this year, which will in turn surely cause me to go into some sort of seized up coma. Picking and choosing the guns and perks you want to build an unstoppable machine of death is as fun as it sounds. There are several characters to choose from in this game, and they all actually play very differently, making it super fun to experiment and find which one you like the most. But also, the enemy variety keeps things very fresh in the middle of an enormous battle, because enemies will spawn in constantly throughout a fight. Maybe you should ignore those two huge minotaurs with shields slowly walking towards you, to focus down the bowman in the back that's sniping you down. But also keep in mind you need to avoid those spearmen running at you. What, where, why, how, what's going on? Oh, okay, I accept death. And sometimes an elite enemy will just randomly appear and make you clench your butt cheeks. Because wow, okay, I wasn't expecting that, but bring it on! It's quick decisions like this, mixed with all the other fantastic stuff I already mentioned, that makes this game just very addicting. It is the definition of one more round. After I'm finished, I just want to go right back and get my redemption against Jimmy Two Fingers for shooting me when I was trying to run away from the spearmen coming at me. It's Borderlands, but in a smaller package. That's literally the best way to explain this game. Now that was the basic overview of the moment-to-moment combat, but that's just scratching the surface, my friend, because I'm going to go point by point and explain those individual things I glossed over in that paragraph, starting with the characters and progression. As I mentioned, there are several playable characters. As of right now, there are 3, and they all play very differently. For instance, do you want the more tactical approach? Well, go with the cat, who fires a freeze orb that blows up and freezes enemies for a couple of seconds, or poisons the ground to lure out ranged attackers who are hiding behind pillars. Or are you the kind of person who just wants to just straight up into the explosive murder? Well, choose the dog, who can throw the good old impact grenade. But more importantly, he can pull a Salvador. That's right, he can yank out both your guns to mow down the poor helpless peasants. Yeah, I really like the dog, but not as much as I love the bird. Easily the most unique of the bunch. He has armor and not a shield. See, the shield regenerates over time, and that's what the dog and cat have. It goes away, you hide, and it comes back. But the bird has armor instead, and you have to cleave enemies with your wing attacker, jump forward to do a big donkey kick to get your armor back. You don't have a grenade or any real ranged attacks, you gotta get up front and personal. This dude is stressful but very rewarding to play him correctly. This is the character for confident, brave players. It makes sense because you unlock this guy at level 40, which takes around 15 hours of playing to get, so yeah. But anyways, like any good roguelike, there is progression systems like crazy. It's the kind of progression that makes subsequent runs more effective so that you can see a sense of momentum rather than just doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for a better run. This is done by spending this blue currency you obtain as you play the game. See, when you go down in the game, meaning when your health drops to 0, you can use a whole lot of your blue stuff to revive yourself and continue your run. Or you can just give up and keep all that sweet, sweet money. Well, see, this blue currency can be used after a run has ended to purchase a large amount of upgrades through these skill trees. But keep in mind, whatever blue currency you don't spend after a run will be lost forever. So it's a game of knowing how much you need for that fancy new skill you've been looking at, and doing a run in order to get at least that amount. This makes it where sometimes you just want to say screw it and don't revive yourself so you can keep enough of that money to get that skill you were looking at, hoping that the next run that skill will come in handy and you can get even further. It's a really fun mechanic that keeps the game fair, but more importantly moving forward. But that's just the overall progression, what you're going to be working towards as you play the game. There is a lot of in-round progression, meaning stuff your progression as you just play a round of the game. If you have played any roguelike before, you get the basic gist. There's a mountain of weapons to gather, all of which randomized to keep each run kind of unique. And also nail biting, hoping you get the gun that can slay Zeus and not the nail shooter that could barely even kill an angry mouse. But other than the guns, which we will discuss more into detail later, there are perks to unlock. After you finish a floor, you will be given a scroll, where you can choose one of 3 random upgrades for your character. These are unique for each playable character and are specifically made for them. For instance, when you're playing the dog, do you want your impact grenades to carry the strength of a mini nuke? Then go for those cards, dude. Throw 2 grenades at once at the consumption of 1, make it where the explosions are bigger and blow everything to pieces. You hit one enemy with it, it's gonna kill it instantly, basically. Or do you want to be an unstoppable machine of overkill in dual wield mode, where you move faster, reload faster, and take like 0 damage? Well, go for those perks, dude. These are super fun and different enough to make it to where you truly feel like you have a unique run whenever you're building around your weapon loadout. But there is more to the random nature of each playthrough, like occult scrolls. Basically random unique buffs, like hey, whenever you dodge, do you want to be invincible for a few seconds? Then go ahead and grab that scroll. These of course can be dropped by Jimmy Two Fingers or whatever other unlucky enemy just so happens to be in the same room as you. But most of the time these occult scrolls will come from challenge rooms that you can access through these random portals in the wall. I love these portal rooms, dude, because they are optional. If you are low on resources, maybe it's your best intention to just say, yeah, not gonna happen, I need a sweet roll. I think I'm going to now shift the focus to the discussion of the guns. See, the way it works is that you will have a small pool of guns to get at the start of your journey in this game. But see, as you play and as you constantly do runs and die and restart and die and restart, and you complete achievements, you will unlock a bunch of new guns to be added to your pool of available guns. The gun variety is insane, actually. Those machine guns have a nice kick that you would really want them to have. Landing critical hits, also known as headshots, rewards you with not only extra damage, but that sharp ping sound effect that makes it very obvious that you're wrecking shop. The cartoony effects look great, especially in the explosive weapons and grenades. I mean, you do have the standard fare of machine guns, submachine guns, and shotguns, but to me, it makes way for the more fun firepower, like the kunai, which are absolutely devastating and so fun to use overall. You have black hole shooters, crossbows with scopes or crossbows that shoot large rows of bullets that knock enemies away. Plasma guns that have alternate firing modes where you shoot a little shield of electric in front of you and you shoot through it to deal extra damage. The game does something unique by making each weapon drop give the gun random stats like you would see in Borderlands, like reload speed and stuff like that. And sometimes random buffs, like when you kill an enemy your rate of fire goes up, or whenever you reload your gun whenever you run out of bullets, rather than clicking the reload button you reload 55% faster. So it's basically always a gamble if that machine gun you got last round that you completely destroyed and wrecked shop with will be even worth a pickle this time when you find it laying on the ground, you know what I mean? But still, with the right upgrades and perks, you can still turn yourself into a force of nature that only seeks murder. Now I think it's time to talk about the maps and the stage layout, because this is where the main issues I have with the game start to peek around the corner. Okay, so the way it works is that there are different map locations, each of which having a set amount of stages in them, and at the end of each location you will fight a boss. These are of course procedurally generated, but it does that thing Warframe does, where it takes a set room layout and just randomizes which rooms are placed where. This makes the stages feel pretty repetitive when you've done the exact same room layout 1,500 times. Also, some enemies are just made to be annoying, I swear. I'm looking at you, worm turret in the desert, my gosh. There is also online co-op, which is fun and works as intended, but overall, I really love this game. It is super fun. Sometimes that's all you really need, is just a game to be a blast to play. And talk about support, dude. The developers of this game love it, I swear. It is not a cash grab, or at least right now it doesn't feel like a cash grab. I can't guarantee the future. But they update this game constantly with tons of new additional things to be added to it. It's humbling to see an early access game where you can tell the people who make this see it as a passion project and actually care about it, and don't just throw in micropayments on a game that isn't even fully released yet. Overall, I really love this game, and I just wanted to highlight it because I bet 99.9% of you don't even know this game exists. It's also like super cheap, so it's obviously worth the price for me. Anyway, thanks guys. See ya.